It's finally happened. Moroku finally told Sango how he felt. Now, why would that be the first thing that I'm talking about here? And that's because we do get a couple of stories in this volume, but a lot of plot progression as well. Now, we've been through this time and time again with the way Rumiko Takahashi writes. She integrates a lot of side stories that go along with the main core plot. Usually, these side stories are utilized to bring forth character interactions as well as character progression. Giving us a sense of how these characters act outside of the main plot. Now, with the first story, it's a continuation of this whole ogre women village thing. It's all about just salamanders taking control of women by having salamanders grow in their guts. I don't really know how they can take control of the women. I'm guessing that since these salamanders are technically yokais, that they're taken control by taking control of the woman's souls. But they can only do that, A, from being eggs, and B, by growing inside of these women. Which Sango also gets an egg inside of her as well, and her and Moroku have a quick little fight, and yeah, it's funny. Moroku did a lot in this little story. The story was more so centered around him and gave him most of the spotlight than it did in Inuyasha, which I'm fine with that, because what's the point of having a cast if you're not going to give everybody else part of the limelight and just have the MC hog it up all by themselves, So like I said before, we get character growth for Moroku. He gets a spotlight some. Another character gets a spotlight as well is Shippo. Now, Shippo's spotlight is for a very small story regarding a river otter named Kanta and Kanta's father that got beheaded. Now, to give some context as to why Kanta's father got beheaded, this is some crazy ass shit here, okay? So if you can recall, there was this baby that was created after the fall of Mount Hakure, created by Naraku as another one of Naraku's children. Now, we don't know what the baby's name was for a long time. All we do know is that this baby can peer into people's souls, and what it had been doing, being accompanied by Kagura, that it was going around peering into the souls of monks, since monks are enlightened beings, that possibly monks could, veer into the afterlife. Because the baby's trying to find this afterlife, because that is where the last Shikon Jewel Shard is located. And amongst this journey, two things are happening. One, killing the monks, which means that when the monks die, their talismans, their protections, whatever dies, breaks with them, which means that there are demons that are getting released. Now, whilst doing this, comes across a monk that's a little more powerful, and this monk splits the baby in half. Yeah, not joking, literally cuts the baby in half. Yet, this does not kill the baby. The baby is now split into two people. Two full fucking people. And one of them is with Kagura, the other is with Kana. In case you don't remember, Kana is the girl with the mirror, who constantly holds the mirror on her person. So, Um, this baby now has a name. Its name is Hakudoshi. Now, whether or not that's the name of the split infant that is with Kagura, or if it's the name of its entity as a whole, has yet to be brought up. So I'm going to assume that both halves are Hakudoshi. And Hakudoshi right now rides upon a nightmare, which that's a horse in flames. You know, think of Rapidash, okay, for better context. This horse's name is Entei. Apparently it was a very evil horse that was sealed away. It's one of the demons that got released after a monk was killed. So Hakudoshi rides upon Entei, and Hakudoshi starts deciding that, okay, humans can't peer into this afterlife as well or as greatly as, say, demons. So goes around cutting demons' head off, and that's where we come back to the River Aracanta and his father. His father got his head cut off. Now, luckily for Inuyasha's group, Sesshomaru shows up. And Sesshomaru is essentially just wandering the land, listening to his sword, Tenseiga. Like, he actually gets pleaded to save Kanta's father's life, but decides not to because it's not in his interest. But the moment that Tenseiga starts, for lack of better words, just starts ringing, Sesshomaru listens and saves Kanta's father's life. Because Sesshomaru is just trying to figure out what is Tenseiga trying to tell him. Now, the area where the dead exist and where the last Shikon Jewel Shard is an area that we've actually visited before, Inuyasha's father's gravesite. If you remember, way earlier on in the series, and this is back where Sesshomaru really was an antagonist, where his group didn't feel like a separate faction from the main protagonist group. As you'd recall, he was trying to get a hold of Tenseiga because he felt that Inuyasha was not worthy to behold such a powerful weapon, or rather a powerful sword. And that sword, where it was at, was in essentially his father's grave, or their father's grave, I should say. And that is the land of the dead, where basically they need to fucking get to. So Inuyasha realizes this, and realizes that last time they got there was through a jewel. So they go and search out Miyoga and God, the guy with the three-eyed cow. I can't remember his name at the moment. And Miyoga tells Inuyasha about a yokai named Hosenki. Hosenki is a yokai that works with jewels. And with these jewels, they can transport people to the land of the dead. But here's the catch. Hosenki has passed away. And his son, who's not named, is now working on his own jewels, which will take 100 years to create or polish or whatever. And so this gives our, protagonists a bit of a headache, but they find out that there is another way of going to the land of the dead. They find this from Kagura, who's told by who's told by Hakudoshi. See how I got that confused? Where to go in order to enter into the land of the dead, and it's through the land of fire, through this gate. At the very end of the volume, Hakudoshi makes a mention of that he'll let Inuyasha go through first, because Inuyasha's sacrifice will be the key to opening the gate itself. So, I'm kind of excited, about this next volume and this whole Line of Fire thing. It seems like it's going to be a massive arc coming up. This volume focused more on plot than it did on characters. However, it did give us great character growth for Moroku, Sango, Shippo, and Sesshomaru. Moroku with outright stating how he feels towards Sango, how he sees her, and the fact that he wants Sango to be in his life after they eradicate Naraku. Shippo with his connection with Kanta, knowing what Kanta's going through, knowing that Shippo's dad was killed, and having kind to relive that experience again, and giving Kanta the reassurance that his friends can help him out, and well, they fucking did. Which with Sesshomaru, it's more or less the line of, it seems like Sesshomaru is on a hero's journey in a sense. He's still trying to discover himself, as well as discover, why he was the one to receive Tenseiga and not Tetsaiga. I think I mentioned Sango about character growth. Hers correlates with Moroku's. She's came to the realization that she likes Moroku more than just a friend. And with that being said, also Hakudoshi, yeah. This child of Naraku is so much more different than his father. Hakudoshi is willing to do what is necessary, even getting his own hands dirty, to achieve the goal, to achieve the end game. In which Naraku, in a sense, just lets his cronies do that for him. Which, technically, Hakudoshi is a crony. But as we know, these cronies are not 100% loyal. Well, they are and aren't 100% loyal to Naraku. They do have their own thoughts and feelings and such, and they do question shit as well. Which, Kagura consistently in this volume questions the actions of Hakudoshi, as well as the actions of others around her. I get the feeling that Kagura is probably going to end up betraying Naraku at some point in time. That's just the vibe I'm getting. Okay, so what do you guys think of Inuyasha Volume 30? Let me know in the comments down below. If you guys haven't already, feel free to subscribe to the channel, as well as hit that notification icon. That way you'll know when I put out more content. And give the video a thumbs up. It makes me feel good and helps the algorithm, I think. I think that's all I have to say. So, ciao for now.